Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to come together today, to gather in fellowship. We thank you, Lord, for the food which has been provided. Lord, may it nourish our bodies as you nourish our souls, Lord. We thank you for waking us up this morning, Lord, because we know that is not promised to everyone. We thank you for the opportunity to serve others, and we thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to serve you. We ask you to be with us today, and we ask you to be with us as we leave here today after this meeting. In your Son, Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right then, back onto my schedule then. At this time, we would like to do the tribute to our fallen heroes. Past President Jerry Payne will do the honors for us today, please.
While the Chisholm Trail 100 Club's primary mission is to help the dependents of our fallen heroes, we can never forget those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. Today, we continue the tradition of recognizing and paying tribute to our fallen heroes of Johnson County with the ringing of the bell. Will you please stand and join me in a moment of silence as we announce their names? Deputy Sheriff George Alvin Robinson, Jr., Johnson County Sheriff's Department, end of watch, Thursday, February the 11th, 1971. Fireman Larry Dale Stevens, Joshua Fire Department, end of watch, Tuesday, February the 14th, 1984. Police Officer Janice Marlene Vandeveer, Burleson Police Department, end of watch, Sunday, December the 27th, 1987. Deputy Sheriff Clifton Taylor, Johnson County Sheriff's Department, end of watch, Saturday, April the 23rd, 2011. May we never forget.
I will now call the annual meeting of the Chisholm Trail 100 Club to order. Mr. Bruce Basin, Chisholm Trail 100 Club Secretary, do we have a quorum for today's business meeting? Thank you, Mr. Secretary. At this time, I'd like to be able to say welcome to you all. I want you all to know that we at this time take a moment to recognize our special guest, but please understand, I want you to know that to me, all of you are special guests, and I appreciate you all so much for being here. So I'm going to hand it over to our President-elect, Mr. Justin Hewlett, to be able to come back and give recognition out to y'all today.
As I call out your name, if you would stand so that people will know who you are. You don't have to remain standing, just stand up so that you're our honored guest here today. Lane Aiken, Sheriff of Wise County, retired, also a Texas Ranger. We've got several from the Hood County Sheriff's Office. We have Lieutenant Johnny Rose, Investigator Joey White, Corporal Jerry East, and David Tucker, Assistant District Attorney. Thank you all for coming. From Joshua, we have the Mayor, Joe Hollern, Police Chief Sean Short from Joshua, and Assistant City Manager Mike Peacock. We have the retired Chief of the Texas Rangers, Kirby Dendy. Thank you, sir. We have Burleson Police Chief Billy Cordell and Assistant Chief Doug Sandifer. Mr. Tommy Foster, who is our ESD Chief. Robert Shaw, who's Justice of the Peace elect from Precinct 4. Andy Pickens, the Executive Director of the Burleson Chamber of Commerce. Don Stoner, Texas Ranger for Johnson and Somerville County. Adam King, Sheriff of Johnson County. And Chiefs Mark Reinhardt and Chief James Salter, also of the Johnson County Sheriff's Department. Emmett Jackson, the Keene Police Department Chief. Kyle Leonard, the Assistant Chief of Mansfield. The Assistant Fire Chief, Keith Scarborough from Cleburne Fire Department. Now this one I like because he and I are pretty good friends and he knows what's fixing to come down here. This is Commissioner Precinct 2, Kenny Ray Howell. Commissioner for Precinct 4. Commissioner for Precinct 4, Larry Woolley. And also we want to thank Jessica Pounds from the Cleburne Times-Review for being here. Thank y'all.
Thank you all so much for being here today. Part of our meeting will be that we will give the Chisholm Trail 100 Club's past year's activity, and our Executive Director, Nikki Passmore, will make that presentation now.
Thank you all so much for being here today. This has been a great year for the Chisholm Trail 100 Club. We hosted our 8th annual 100 Shots for the 100 Club Clay Shoot Tournament, raising a great portion of the year's funds and hosting more than 350 shooters. I would especially like to thank the shoot director, Lonnie Mears, for leading us in this event. Lonnie, are you here today? We also celebrated our 3rd year of hosting the Hot Rods and Heroes Motor Show. I would particularly like to thank board member Laura Johnson for leading us in this year's venture. This year, the event grew and hosted over 100 vehicles. We'd love for you to join us at our 4th annual Hot Rods and Heroes Motor Show, taking place October 21st at the Lost Oak Winery. We can sign up sponsors for this event today. Wink, I would love some sponsors to sign up today. We've also enjoyed some really great partnerships this year. In December, Couch and Russell Financial of Burleson offered to partner with us for their annual Diamonds and Dice Ball. As a result of this event and the efforts of Reagan and Craig Couch, over $18,000 was raised, and the first responders and their guests enjoyed a wonderful Christmas party. I hope you'll mark your calendars for this terrific event taking place on December 8th this year. We also gave away 2 scholarships this year for the Mad Hunter Venture Capital Group Scholarship, a scholarship benefiting the children of Chisholm Trail 100 Club first responders, children in their senior year of high school. We're going to be proud to announce the winners of this scholarship later in the program. This year, we also increased benefits for our first responders. In the past, we've given $50,000 line of duty life insurance to over 1,400 first responders and smaller benefits for line of duty serious injuries. As of January 1st, we have also added a $25,000 off-duty accidental death policy, as well as up to $50,000 for serious injuries while on duty, and up to $25,000 for serious injuries while off duty. This is a tremendous addition to what we can offer our hometown heroes, and ensures that even if injured while off duty, their family will still be taken care of. The Board of Directors also voted to pre-purchase this new insurance package for 3 years' worth of coverage, which you may have noticed did affect our net income for this year, explaining why our net income was negative $25,000 this year. The good news is we will not have insurance expenses for the next 2 years. In conjunction with the Johnson County Sheriff's Association and the efforts of our 4 county commissioners, State Senator Brian Birdwell and State Representative Dwayne Burns, we successfully dedicated a portion of Interstate 35W through Johnson County in honor of a fallen deputy, Clifton Taylor. The CT 100 Club wrote a check for over $19,000 to make this dream a reality. Our membership has also experienced a slight increase, up to 715 members as of June 30th. We continue to ask for your help as supportive members to help us grow by recommending our charity to your friends, families, and businesses. Our Facebook following has also grown substantially with over 1,400 followers at this point. If you are not currently following us on Facebook, I encourage you to like us and invite your friends to like us as well. We've had great success financially this year, reaching assets of $693,750, a figure we're very proud to have accomplished in just 9 years of existence. I want to thank you all for making this year so successful. We couldn't do any of this without your support. I would now like to introduce you to a former member of our board of directors. To a member of our board of directors and the founder of the Mad Hunter Venture Capital Group Scholarship, Mr. Mike Aronakis.
First responders. We received 10 applications from many different regions of the coverage area, Burleson, Rio Vista, Glen Rose, and more. Through all applications, very good. 2 in particular stood out. That was this year. We had 10 this year. This will be the 3rd year we've distributed out scholarships. The first year we gave out 1. Last year we gave out 2. This year we gave out 2 more. These are $4,000 a piece scholarships. They're $1,000 a year and they're renewable every year. This year, 2 particular persons stood out. Carly Cruz of Cleburne High School, here. And Dylan Garrett of Alvarado High School, come on up. Were selected to win the 2018 scholarship. The scholarship's for $1,000 with the option to renew for 4 years. I'm going to tell you a little bit about each of these. Carly is the daughter of Brian Cruz of Cleburne Fire Department. Carly has an impressive resume. She graduated, I might say this wrong, summa cum laude, and was in, say that 3 times, and was in the top 10% of her class. She was even inducted into the Cleburne High School Wall of Fame for earning an A in every class. Carly plans to study business administration at Mays Business School next year, Mays Business School next year. She also plans to obtain a master's degree from Texas A&M in marketing. Carly hopes to one day run a social media for a major corporation. The next recipient, Dylan Garrett, is the stepson of Burleson Officer of the Year, Shane Morrison. Is Shane here? Dylan has graduated from Alvarado High School with honors. He is active in choir with a 1 rating for UIL and solo as a member of the 2018 Small School All-State Mixed Choir. He also placed 2nd team academic All-State for Texas Head Coaches Association in football. Dylan also enjoys roping, riding, and training horses. In the fall, Dylan plans to attend Texas A&M University to study business management and hopes to one day become a lawyer. These are our 2, congratulations to both of these. These are 2 2018 award winners. Next, we'd like to recognize several important awards for volunteers and donors. Bonnie?
We're going to be working on our segues. So, pardon me, want to do a little house cleaning if you don't mind? Thank y'all so very much. Today, it is my honor to recognize an outgoing board member. Steve Ramey has served this organization for over 8 years. His dedication to detail and hard work for the club has left his mark in our VIP auction, 100 shots for the club, clay shoot, membership challenges, and a true favorite activity for Steve, department roll calls. Steve was always quick to shake the hand of a first responder and tell them thank you for your service. On behalf of the Board of Directors today, Steve, and myself especially, thank you, Steve, for your faithful service to the Chisholm Trail 100 Club for the past 8 years. Well, I've done really well. I've only made one cry today, so here comes my next one up for Q. For our next presentation, I would like to introduce to y'all the past president, Keith Kelly.
Uh-oh, they took my script away. Oh, well, any of you that knew me when I was president, I didn't use a script anyway. I am here to honor and introduce an award. A friend of mine I met about 10 years ago, and just, you meet people in life. You don't know why you meet them, but you need to trust God and move forward with them. And about 6 months ago, Steve Jones, the owner of Steel Station, we went to breakfast, and he said, I've got it on my heart. I really want to do something for the first responders. And I suggested to him that, well, why don't we work together with the Chisholm Trail 100 Club? And Steve and his wife, they purchased over 1,300 pairs of tactical boots for every single first responder in the Chisholm Trail 100 Club service area. And those of you who know what tactical boots cost, you understand the value of that and what that donation meant. And I would like Steve to come up front, and Meg, if you'd like to come up with him. Don't be shy, Meg, I know you better than that. We have great people in this community, silent heroes in this community. You have to come up over here, there's no stairs there. I tried that. On a little side note, why Steve is walking up here, Steve and Meg are both attorneys. They have spent a lot of time in Alaska. Steve still has a practice in Alaska, but he also practices international law internationally. And Steve's probably going to shoot me for saying this, but he just won a major case in the World Court a few months ago. Steve, a one-man operation with his wife against a 200-firm law firm. And I'm very proud. That's a major accomplishment to do something like that.
Well, I hope you won't hold it against him.
Yeah, don't hold it against him. He's a lawyer. So, Steve, would you like to step up and say a word to our first responders?
I can't see y'all because the lights are very bright, but we are honored to be in the same room with y'all. We really appreciate what you do. And you're the heroes of our land, our community, and so thank you. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
And that membership in first responders is what it's all about right then and there. Giving freely back to y'all and being there supporting y'all there for us, most definitely. Today, all first responders covered by the Chisholm Trail 100 Club are eligible to win these following awards. Nominations are put forward by the peers, which are then reviewed by the awards committee. Awards are not intended to be given every year and may not be awarded even if nominations have been made. The Chisholm Trail 100 Club's Lifetime Achievement Award is given for 20 years or more of service in the Chisholm Trail 100 coverage area. Please enjoy this 15-minute video tribute to this year's Lifetime Achievement Award winner.
My name is Kirby Dendy. I retired as chief of the Texas Rangers 4 years ago. During my career, I spent time on the Highway Patrol in West Texas. I was in narcotics in Waco for 8 years, and I made Ranger in 1987. That's where I first started working and really developing my relationship with George. Later made lieutenant, went to Midland, and where George and I really got close was while I was captain in Waco for 15 years, and he was, during that period of time, he was one of my Rangers working in Johnson County. And then later, he promoted lieutenant and got to work with me in Waco, and I got to really feel very close to him during that period of time where we got to work together in the company F headquarters office. It's really a big honor to me to be allowed to participate in this ceremony honoring George Turner because he's had such a wonderful career, and we've been such close friends for so many years that it means a great deal to me to be able to come here and say thank you, George, for all that you've done. You know, and I could talk probably all day long about all the various individual characteristics that George possesses that makes him the person that we all admire and respect. But rather than go into those things, his sense of humor, his integrity, his courage, his ability to talk to people on all levels, rather than go into those things individually, I'm going to tell one little story about him that I think demonstrates so many of those characteristics, and maybe they'll be obvious to you. But several years ago, while George was a Ranger in Johnson County, I was his captain in Waco, and he called me one day. I'm pretty sure it was a Sunday evening, might have been even Easter. But he called me and he said, "Hey, we've got a situation up here where last night some guy got drunk and got to beating on his wife, and they had been fighting for quite some time, and finally she had enough of it, and she decided she was going to leave the house." Well, he wasn't wanting that at all, so he followed her outside, and she jumped into the car and tried to leave, and he shot the car all to pieces. He said, but fortunately, you know, she was able to get away unharmed, and so she's okay, but he's gone back into the house and more or less taken himself hostage. And he's threatened to kill anybody that comes up there to try and remove him from the house. So we just kind of established a perimeter here, and we're trying to talk him out. But he said, but he's not really, he's not having any of it. He's not budging. So we're just kind of at a standstill right now. So I said, okay, and I headed up there. About an hour later, I get there at the scene, and I see George off kind of to the side by a car, and he's talking on a cell phone. And off to the other side, I see Sheriff Alford and some troopers and some deputies. And so I start walking over to them and to find out what's going on, get an update on the situation. As I'm walking past George, I can hear what he's saying, and I'm getting his side of the conversation only, but I'm hearing him say, "No, I totally agree with you. I would have shot at her too. Absolutely. No, I'm serious. She needed it. You know, she's the cause of this." And I'm thinking, gosh, he's really doing a great job in talking to this guy. And George goes on, he says something about, she is the cause of this because she hasn't been giving you the kind of loving that you deserve. You just need a big old hug, and she's not giving it to you. Well, no, really, that's what I think is the problem. As I'm listening to him talking, I'm really thinking, he is really doing a great job in relating to this fella. And he may actually have a chance in talking him out. So he continues talking. He said, I'll tell you what. He said, I'll show you. I'll give you some love. I'll give you a hug. If you'll just come out the back door of your house and come out in this pasture down here, but leave your guns there. He said, I'll give you a hug. I guarantee you that's all that you need. And maybe she'll come around, she'll recognize you. We'll get this thing straightened out. So I'm thinking, this is going to be a miracle if the guy comes out. But then George says, okay, well, come on out. But remember, leave your gun there. And he hangs up his phone, and he says he's coming out. So we get to watching, and sure enough, the guy comes out the back door, and he walks out in this pasture, and George goes to meet him. And I told George before he started out there, I said, I'm going to have a rifle on that guy. And if he makes any type of move that looks like he's going for a gun, whatever you do, don't get between me and him, because I'm going to try and drop him. And so George said, okay, that's no problem. Well, that worked real good for about the first 20 seconds. and George got right in between me and him as we're walking out there, which turned out to be a good deal for me because then I became an observer rather than a participant because I had to put down the rifle and I got to watch the rest of this situation evolve through binoculars. As they got close to one another, I see this guy talking to George. I can't really tell what they're saying, but as they get really close, I see the guy come up with his arms like this, and George's arms come up also, but it's more like this. And as they come together, George hits him so hard in the nose and the mouth that I swear it knocked him out immediately. He fell to the ground and he didn't even tremble. He was laying on the ground. George gets him handcuffed. The sheriff and I walk out there, and we get there about the time George rolls him back over, and if he had been unconscious, he had come to in the meantime because he looked up at George, and it was the funniest expression I've ever seen because you could tell what he was thinking. Where's my hug? What happened to all that love that I was waiting to get? And George just kind of grinned at him and said, let's get him out of here. And so we took him on back, and he was ultimately put in jail. And to me, that demonstrates so many of the personality traits about George that I've always so admired and respected. You know, it showed not just his courage, because I've seen him do a lot of things far more courageous and a lot more dangerous situations than that, but it showed his ability to communicate with people regardless of their level or their condition. It showed his flexibility. It showed his personality and that he can get along with everybody. And it showed he could sell ice cubes to Eskimos. He just got such a great ability to relate to people, and that was one of those opportunities for him to show his servant's heart as well, because he served the people of Johnson County and the people of the state of Texas by getting that guy in jail before he was capable of hurting anybody else, whether they be citizens or even himself. So that's one of the many, many reasons why I so admire and respect George. And George, I'm really proud, honored, and actually humbled that you can call me your friend. You're such a great guy. I have nothing but respect, and I want you to know I love you, brother.
Hello, my name's Robert Shaw. I'm a former major with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice and a retired warden with Corrections Corporation of America. I first met George Turner in 1982 when he was a DPS sergeant outside the Houston area. We had just reinstated the death penalty in Texas, and we were about to perform the first execution, and George was put in charge of the response team to assist us if we needed help with crowd control. And I must say that was my first time to meet him, but his professionalism was outstanding. The comfort he brought to us, knowing that him and his team was there to support us, I cannot put into words how much that meant to us. Little did I know in 1989, when I was assisting in opening a prison in Venus, Texas, that I would meet Texas Ranger George Turner again. And I am here to say that it's a privilege, to talk about George, with all of you today. He has been outstanding in law enforcement, as you've heard from people that he worked directly with. He assisted local law enforcement agencies. He assisted us with incidents that occurred at the prison. Nothing was ever too big or too small for George to help in. But as you heard, some of the cases, for example, that Chief Dindy just described, you'll have to understand that there's other very big cases that George had to work. The Kickachoo case may not be something that all of you've heard about, but some of you may or may not know that a Kickachoo is a very exotic monkey. And one came to Texas and somehow escaped captivity. And Texas Ranger George Turner was put on the case. Well, needless to say, George didn't leave a single stone unturned, and he was able to recapture the Kickachoo and bring him back into custody. he very carefully brought him back into Johnson County, where the Kickapoo may have defecated and urinated in his state car, which, needless to say, meant that other people would no longer ride with him. But George, knowing that he had to keep this Kickapoo in captivity, took him directly to his residence, where he had him in the garage. No one knew the talents of this Kickapoo. When he escaped out of his cage, George had to recapture it. He squatted, he jumped, he went under things, and George was right there with him until he recaptured that Kickapoo. George, now everybody knows the story. And we will not talk about the involvement that Chief Dendy had in that escapade. George, enjoy your special moment. It's wonderful to have worked with you, and it's even more wonderful to call you my friend. Thank you.
My name's Don Stoner. I'm the Texas Ranger assigned to Johnson County here in Cleburne. I've been with DPS for approximately 23 years. I was in the Highway Patrol Service for about 10 years, the Narcotics Service for 4 years, and been in the Rangers the remainder of the time stationed here in Cleburne. I first met George Turner whenever I was promoted to the Texas Rangers Division stationed in Cleburne. Of course, I heard the legend of George Turner before that whenever I was in the Narcotics Service, and I heard about this Ranger that was stationed down in Cleburne and all these wild stories of the things he did. And then when I promoted to the Ranger Division and I was assigned to Cleburne, I got to say there was a little animosity or hesitance about going to Cleburne to fill the shoes of a legend that is George Turner. I would go visit with the local officers. I'd visit with Sheriff Alford, the Chief of Police, and every one of them had a wild story of their interaction with George. So I finally got to meet the legend himself, and I must say it was an honor. I was very humbled at the mentorship he gave me, and I'll say this to you, George, the relationship you forged in Johnson County with the officers, with the sheriff, with the citizens, made it very easy for me to come here and do the job. It makes it much easier for me to interact with the other agencies. Again, with when I interview people, probably not a week goes by where I don't get interrupted at lunch or, in the courthouse where somebody tugs on my shirt wanting to know about George Turner and how he's doing and where he's at. And that says volumes about the things you've done in your career. I kind of learned this job by reading George Turner case files that are in my office and seeing all the wonderful cases and the hard work that he did in Johnson County. Like I said, before I ever worked my first murder, I read George Turner murder files. So again, I want to tell you how much I appreciate your mentorship, the times we've spent together, talking about your cases and my cases, and just the camaraderie you've shown with me, and kind of, again, led the path for me to be able to be successful in Johnson County. George, congratulations for today. Congratulations for the outstanding career with DPS and the Texas Rangers. And I look forward to many more conversations over cases and your continued friendship. I love you, brother.
A legend indeed. I love the stories. Over here to the right, you'll take a look. We have two incredible photographs. The unique thing about this is that both of those were taken by wife Alexis Stoner to Don Stoner, Ranger Don Stoner. In the pictures are the service weapon and the hats and the boots of our today's 2018 Lifetime Achievement Award winner. So when you leave today, would you please take with you as a memento your gun and your badge and your hat with you? And thank you so much for your service today. So if you don't mind, I would like for y'all to please help me to welcome the 2015 Lifetime Achievement Award winner, Bob Alford.
I want to thank all of you for being here today and showing your support for all of our first responders in Johnson, Somerville, maybe soon to be Hood County, and the city of Mansfield. It means a lot to these first responders when the citizens are the ones that show the support. So thank you for that. Before I start with George, I want to follow up on Chief Dendy's story. And that old boy sobered up the next morning, got out of jail, made bond. He asked to see me, and I said, okay, send him back. I'm expecting a big confrontation, or something like that going on. But he walks in, he's Mr. Humble Pie. And he said, Sheriff, I just want to tell you thank you. Thank you for not killing me yesterday. He said, I may have deserved it. I'm not sure I deserved that slug I got, but might have deserved killing, but I don't know that. But anyway, he told me, he said, you tell that ranger thank you. And I have over the years. I can go on all day long with George Turner stories. We've known each other many years, and there's many, many stories. And nobody in this room can't sit here and tell a story, no law enforcement officer, about George Turner. And they're all good. And they show the kind of man that he is, the kind of officer that he is. But I'm not going to go into those. I'm going to sum it up real easy. I can also tell you that I doubt there's one single person in this room, nobody in first responders, that does not like, appreciate, and respect George Turner. George Turner is the epitome of what a law enforcement officer should be. And today, you're our fourth recipient of this award, George. And George Lord Turner has served in our community since 1973. George Turner is the second son of Fred and Pauline Turner. He was born July 31st, 1951 in Waxahachie, Texas. He graduated from Midlothian High School and attended Navarro College and Sam Houston State University. He joined the Texas Department of Public Safety as a trooper in 1973 and was first assigned to Hubbard, Texas. He then transferred to Cleburne, and George promoted to the Highway Patrol Sergeant. In 1982, assigned to Humble. In March of 1985, Sergeant Turner became Ranger Turner, assigned to Houston Company A. He served there for almost 1 year until transferring back to Fort Worth in Company B. He served in Company B until the opportunity presented itself to return to Cleburne as the Ranger Sergeant. He served in Cleburne until promoted to the Lieutenant of Company F in Waco, where he got to work with his longtime friend, Chief Dendy. Turner retired from DPS in 2009 and served as an investigator for the Hood County District Attorney's Office until 2010. He currently serves on the cold case squads in Johnson, Hood, and Somerville counties. George is also, those of you that know, George had a stroke several years ago. It did not stop, has not stopped George Turner, will not stop George Turner. He is now the acting police chief in Rio Vista, Texas, in case you didn't know that. I think they may still have a speed trap down there. I'm not sure, but watch out. Yeah. George is he's an interim chief. You want to make that clear. He is a Mason, a longtime member of St. Mark United Methodist Church in Cleburne, and he's been married to his lovely wife, Dana Payne, for 44 years. Dana, would you stand up and let them see you? And the Turners were blessed with 3 children, Josh, Eden, and Trace. So, George, it's our privilege and honor to recognize you for this service. We'll let you say a word if you want to.
I appreciate y'all coming out in Hood and Somerville County, Johnson and Somerville counties. I want to say hello to all my friends in Hood County. So, I know. But if I had any successes, it was all because of you. It's all because of y'all. So I won't take much of your time, but I appreciate you, and me should be honoring y'all, instead of vice versa. So thank you. Thank you.
Any legend should have a 1911. Yes. Beautiful gun. Beautiful gun. Congratulations. Thank you so much for your service. All right, our last award for today is going to be what we call our Above and Beyond Award presentation. It is my honor today to present the 2018 Above and Beyond Award. This question is posed to us on numerous occasions. How did the 100 Club start? The response was always the same. The 100 Club started 50 plus years ago when a young police officer was killed in the line of duty. One businessman saw a need for the fallen officer's young wife and kids. He called 100 of his friends and asked each one of them for a $100 bill, hence the name 100 Club. The Chisholm Trail 100 Club as well started by a phone call. Melissa Zaborowski, wife of Richard Zaborowski, back in 2009, placed a phone call to then Sheriff Bob Alford. She asked him point blank, "Do you know what a 100 Club is?" Sheriff said, "Well, yes, I do." She asked the question, "Does Johnson County have a 100 Club?" Bob said, "No, we don't." And Melissa, in her most perfect way of saying this, "Well, why not?" Bob responded back very politely, "It's because we don't know how to put one together." She said, "Get me a group of people and we will call, and I will call Houston, and we will come up here and we will have one set up." The very first time I met Melissa was at our initial board meeting for the CT 100 Club. It was clear to me that Melissa had a passion for protecting our first responders. Her passion and support is still evident today in our club. On behalf of the Board of Directors and myself, I would like to say thank you, Melissa, for planting the seed that started the Chisholm Trail 100 Club almost 10 years ago. The pride of bringing the 100 Club to Johnson County is yours, so we are pleased to honor Melissa Zaborowski today for her contributions. She is not here today, so we will accept it, and I'm most definitely sure that she'll be very pleased for it. So thank you, Ms. Melissa, for what you've done for us. We appreciate you very much. Are we doing on time? Oh. All right then. Will the Board of Directors for the Chisholm Trail 100 Club please stand? Thank you, Board. Membership, the Board of Directors are clearly the strength of our organization. We ask a lot of our directors, their time, their talent, their labor, their wisdom, and their funds. Would you help me to recognize their contributions by a round of applause, please? Now, it is my pleasure to be able to announce to y'all the election results. Each one of you that are members received a ballot today, and here are the results of the returning board members that you, the membership, voted on. Returning directors, we have Kenny Howe, received 59 votes. David Lehman received 59 votes. Steve Davis, 58 votes. Mike Aronakis, 58 votes. Larry Woolley, 58 votes. Brent Stovall, 58 votes. Tim Sinclair, 58 votes. And Jeff Montgomery, 58. Welcome back, our returning board members. I appreciate y'all so very much, and so welcome aboard. Now I would like to be able to present Mr. Bruce Baisden. He'll come up and explain what it is for a probationary or prospective class for the Chisholm Trail 100 Club.
Organizations like the Chisholm Trail 100 Club come and go. You have lots of great ideas that sometimes they stick and sometimes they don't. This one's sticking pretty good, and the reason is I think, is that the board of directors that lead this organization are very passionate about the club. The I've already varied off my first line of my speech here, so the continuing success of our club is tied to our leadership, and in order to ensure that we have consistently dedicated people, our board has set up a kind of a program where we call the prospective board members, and we ask them the candidates for board membership serve 6 months in a probationary capacity. This lets them see exactly what we do and what's expected of a board member, and we encourage them to engage in all of our discussions, give their opinions, their advice, and volunteer at all of our club activities. These prospective members attend board meetings, but they're not allowed to cast votes in guiding the organization until they are officially voted in by the members at large. This year we have 2 prospective members that have met the requirements of the 6 months, as well as received the endorsement of the full board for memberships, and they were placed on the ballot. So I'd like to introduce John Perrier and Fred Bursey. So Fred is there. I don't know if John is here. And so anyway, they have been voted in and will be full board members going forward. Thank you. Oh, wait a minute. I got one other thing. I got our prospective board members for the upcoming year. I would like to introduce them: Tim Davis, Levi Anderson, Devin Jackson, Austin Jackson, and Jeff Silverbun. So, you all stand up. There you are. Tim back here. Thank y'all very much.
Bruce was the second president of the Chisholm Trail 100 Club. Jerry Payne was our very first president. There's only ever one first president. I was honored to be the third president, and I was also very honored and I'm very proud that I selected Bonnie Davis to be the fourth president. And she has done a wonderful job for this club. She's cleaned up all the loose ends and all the dust clouds I left for her and made us look very good. And now, because she is about to hand the gavel over, I get to welcome her to the very prestigious Past Presidents Club, and I would like to make a presentation to Bonnie. And just so you all know, we don't spend club money for things like that. That's the board of directors all took from their own pocket and made that award possible. And I promised I wouldn't do this, but I'm I'm just going to do it anyway, and Commissioner Jerry Stringer can be mad at me. But Commissioner Stringer is a very talented woodworker, and that wood logo on the top is all made of different species of wood, all glued together, all finished, engraved, gold inlaid. And Commissioner Stringer was a founding member of this organization as well. So he didn't attend today because he didn't want me to thank him publicly, because those of you that know Jerry, he likes to do his work behind the scenes. But Bonnie, I sure hope you enjoy that. Thank you for being the follow-up act. And now back to you.
What an incredibly beautiful gift. I love it that it's got the hashtag serial number, Davis 2016. I just saw all the boys in my family go, yes, because guess what? It is not. What an incredible gift. Thank you so very much, Board of Directors. Thank you so much, Nikki Passmore, and of course, Keith Kelly. I will do my very best not to get through this, but I'm going to do my very best. I'm honored by your generosity and faithful support. Indeed, it has been an incredible 2 years. Thank you, membership and partners, for your continued support of the Chisholm Trail 100 Club. I would like to thank the Board of Directors for their due diligence to this organization. Membership, it's this board's strategic planning and their continued focus on this club's missions that ensure that promises made will remain promises kept. These attributes are the benchmark for you, the membership, to measure the club's success. Your Board of Directors for the Chisholm Trail 100 Club will continue the path they started out on, to provide in a time of need for our first responders and their family. To my family, Gary, Emily, Scott, Jesse, Aaron, John, and Vicki Copeland, Mom and Dad, as well as my dearest of friends. Thank you for supporting my passion for CT100 by helping me anytime I called. You all were an ear when I needed one, muscle when I needed to lift something heavy, brilliant ideas when I was stumped, and you were always ready to help anytime I asked for funds. I am forever grateful and appreciative of everything you have done for me. Thank you so very much. And no, I love each one of you with all my heart. To my successor, thank you for your commitment to lead this outstanding Board of Directors. Keith Kelly spoke of picking the right one to take his place. Then you have trained me well, Keith, for I too have picked the right one. Mr. Justin Hewlett, it is my privilege to hand over the gavel and pass to you the finest group of people I have had the privilege of working with.
Thank you.
There you go. Hang away.
All right. Well, first off, let's give a big thank you to Bonnie Davis for the leadership that he's shown the past 2 years. And also a big thank you to Jerry Payne and Bruce Baisden and Keith Kelly, our other past presidents. Y'all stand up. I want to thank you guys for setting the bar so high. I wasn't a founding member, but I got involved pretty quickly. And what this club has become under the leadership of these 4 people is amazing, what they've been able to do for our first responders in this county. And thank all of you for that. Also, I want to thank the Board of Directors and the advisors of the CT100 Club. If you're a board member or a probie or an advisor, please stand up and let's give you a round of applause. Thank all of you. For those of you who aren't on the board, I will tell you, I'm on a lot of different organizations, and this is one of the hardest working boards that I've ever been involved with. They don't come to the meetings just to be meeting. They come to get after it, and they do, and I thank all of you for that. I'm honored to lead this board as your new president, and I thank all of you, especially Bonnie, for the confidence that she's placed in me. Also, I want to recognize Nikki here. Nikki, for those of you who don't know, is our executive director, and she makes all of us look good. Thank you, Nikki. Nikki kind of surprised me this week, said, you know, you've got to stand up there and give a few goals for next year and say a few things. And I just want to tell you, in observing Bonnie and what she's done the last 2 years, I've learned a few things. One is that to lead this organization, you must be a master cat herder, because you've got to keep things between the lines. And let me tell you, we've got people jumping and going. We've got some type A personalities on this board. And it's amazing to watch her be able to finish a meeting and get it done in the appropriate time. To be the president, you also have the patience, must have the patience of Job to put up with some of us other board members. You must be the consummate diplomat, always trying to make every situation a win-win. And sometimes you have to be the judge, jury, and executioner, and I've seen her do that too. So thank you, Bonnie, for all that you've done and the leadership that you've given this organization. We appreciate that. The goals that I've kind of set for myself for this organization, the first thing is to keep it between the lines. This club has done a lot of work in just 8 short years. And I think that my main job is keeping us going in the right direction and continuing to focus on what we do best. Number 2, I want to see us increase memberships. I've talked to some people today about that. We've done a great job over the past few years getting our memberships up. If you look in the annual report, you'll see that we had 715 members, but only 83 of those are first responders. And we cover almost 1,400 first responders in Johnson and Somerville County. So we've got our work cut out for us to increase our memberships. Our endowment. I want to continue to grow our endowment. Our endowment currently sits at just under $350,000, and I'd love to see us be able to get that up over $500,000 in the next couple of years. Also, our continued growth with our club. We're continuing talking to people, as we've mentioned. We've been talking to Hood County, and they're starting to raise some money to be able to come into our organization and to allow us to expand there, and we're looking forward to that. And I thank Bonnie and I thank the board for the confidence that they've put in me, making me president. I also want to thank my wonderful wife, Sydney. She told me one day, she said, "Where are you going this morning?" I said, "Well, I've got an executive board meeting." Next week, she says, "Where are you going this morning?" I said, "Well, I've got a board meeting." She goes, "Man, this group meets more than any group I know." And I said, "You've got to do that to keep up with these people because they're going all the time." But thank you, Sydney, for being there for me. I appreciate it. I also want to tell you about a few things that we've got coming up. Our Soapbox Derby, September the 3rd. This is not hosted by the CT100 Club, but we do receive the proceeds from all the grudge matches. And we encourage all the departments to participate in this fun, competitive event and support a great cause. And I believe normally it's on Labor Day or the Sunday before Labor Day. Huh? It's always Labor Day. So be looking for information about that. Hot Rods and Heroes Motor Show is October the 21st. It'll again be at Lost Oak Winery. Car pre-registration is $20 on our website, and we do have some sponsorships still available. We'd love to sign you up today. The Diamonds and Dice Ball, hosted by Couch and Russell Financial, will be December the 8th. Our annual 100 Shots for the 100 Club Clay Shoot Tournament is scheduled for May 3rd, 2019. Sponsorships are available, but as of today, we are already 75% sold. So please register soon to guarantee your team spot. With that, I'm going to call this meeting adjourned and thank all of you for being here. Thank you.